me when you're ready to rock and roll. Ready when you're loaded and ready to rumble.
The alternative factor. Let's go. Today's real episode is the 27th aired episode, The Alternative Factor, directed by Gerd Oswald. And I think he's done this once before. I think one other episode. Written by Don Ingalls. And it was aired March 30th, 1967.
And Don Ingalls, just a little trivia real quick about him. He was a good friend of Gene Roddenberry's. They wrote together for several episodes. And he was also, according to the stuff I read, the trivia I read, was a police officer that worked with Gene Roddenberry in the police department in Los Angeles.
I read something too. He was police in the police department, and that they wrote shows together for other series. And
yeah. Okay.
Starring William Shatner as Captain Kirk. Also starring Leonard Nimoy as Mr. Spock. Guest star Robert Brown as Lazarus. Featuring DeForest Kelley as Dr. McCoy and Janet McLaughlin as Charlene Masters. With Nichelle Nichols as Uhura, Richard Durr as Barstow, Ark Whitling as the assistant engineer, Christian Patrick as the transporter chief, and finally Eddie Paskey as Leslie.
I kind of want to say a couple things off the top. You already said Star Trek. Well, this is Starbase 11. Starbase 11 is our show. This is the Alternative Factor Season 1, Episode 27, as you just said. Or AKA Space Rip or Time Travel again. So what it is about is, and I know this is going to be crazy for Erica to sort out our intros, but we'll get our intros down, right? So I think, well, let's just talk about our intros real quick. Because I think, I love what you did. I think we should limit it to like maybe 8 or something. Because she's putting them across and she should just let some of them go, right? Captain Kirk, da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da, and then we're moving on to the episode. Otherwise, it gets to be really long. So what this episode is about is I don't know why they're going to that planet or why are they going there. I have no idea. Do you have any idea why they're looking at that planet or anything?
No. They're not there yet at the beginning, are they?
Yeah.
No, they're just cruising around. All of a sudden, they experience a problem.
No, they're there. They're looking at a planet.
Okay.
Yeah, they are. No surprises here is what Mr. Spock says, because he's looking at the planet and he's saying this. He's giving them stuff about the planet, and there's no surprises. And then they get hit, but there's no life forms on the planet. There's nothing else, which that is a goof. I did read about that, and I love that people notice this because there's no life forms, no nothing on this planet, right? And they go, why doesn't anyone notice when they beam down to the planet that there's bushes there and trees and shrubbery? They got all kinds of life forms on the planet, and Spock's telling them right before they beam, there's nothing here to see.
Totally barren.
Keep moving on. And that's when Captain Kirk goes, well, let's continue on to Starbase 11. And then they get hit with the little thing, which in my opinion, and I know I'm going to jump way ahead of the gun here, but I'm just going to jump right in. They do that too much. Those special effects. Oh my God. I didn't even count. Yeah. Was that like half the episode? Oh my gosh. It was like, oh man. Well, we know from who we just gave our guest starring roles as, we know that Bill Catching and Al Wyatt Sr. did a great job of being Lazarus in those special effects things. So there you go. So Lazarus wasn't fighting Lazarus in those things. I did not know that. I was thinking Lazarus was fighting Lazarus, right?
But there was stuntmen fighting.
Yeah, stuntmen fighting stuntmen. Yeah, you're right. There you go. But there's no surprises here, which they do that twice in this episode. No surprises here, Captain. And then they get hit with the right. So you know it's kind of a foreshadowing. Something's going to happen. Well, we know the foreshadowing. You know why? Because the episode starts. We know something's going to happen. Those people go, there's nothing to see here. Keep moving.
It was the 20th episode, and they said, this is not so good. We're going to push this to the end of the season. Because
is that what they did, really? Do you have some trivia to share with us about this episode here?
Yeah, I probably do.
You have Uhura sitting at the desk at 034409. and you didn't make a comment on it. I'm not sure what that means, but
yes, that's a very good question indeed. Probably a placeholder to say, look up what's happening there. Someone says something. I have no idea. Keep going.
Oh, okay. So there's something there. Well, what I really like about the landscape of the planet they're on, the really cool thing about these photos is I used to ride when I first moved to Southern California, buy this stuff all the time. So I'm very familiar with this area that they shot at. So it's amazing that that they put it right. Well, of course, everybody knows Southern California. I just said I moved here because of movies, so we all know why they did it and where they shoot at. But I used to, me and my buddies, every weekend we were riding by this area. So just a bit of trivia.
But I'm going to say things. I like doing the random association kind of thing, and this opening reminds me of the episode Bread and Circuses, which we have not watched yet together. But it opens up with the camera looking up at the top, and they beam down onto high mountains like that, and the title comes in way late into that episode. It just has the feel of Bread and Circuses.
Feel of it. Okay, so we'll have to refer back to this when we get there.
What do you see at 60614? What do you see there?
061402, I see the spaceship, the little, which we're not sure what kind of ship it is, a RIP ship, space-time ship, whatever it is with the crew in front of the ship. But whatever that ship is, I really want one of those. I just want to ride around in one, not knowing what it does, but who knows what's going to happen to me, but I'd love to hop into one.
The production notes said, hey, the Galileo cost us $30,000 back in '66. We cannot create a spaceship, and not even for $5,000. They were really scared from the notes in the script. I think, not scared, but, concerned. There was no way they were going to be able to pull off some cool spaceship.
Well, the cool thing is they don't have one. They have two cool spaceships. They have one in the Rift, and they have this one here.
Yeah, they got two for the price of one somehow.
Yeah, it's amazing. Amazing what they did. These guys are amazing. Okay, so they're talking about, I guess I'm going back to the bridge here, the winking or blinking. So I noticed that with my own self, right? And winking out. The winking out or blinking is non-existence. And I noticed that when I blink, everything goes away. So I think actually Mr. Spock was correct in what he said there. The blink or the wink is everything's non-existent right there, right?
Twice for a split second each time, everything within a range of our instruments seemed on the verge of winking out.
Oh, and then they go, well, then they get the calls. I'm sorry, I'm back on the bridge. I didn't get it down to the surface yet. And so Starbase, whatever, who's that, like the Commodore or whoever from Starbase talks to Captain Kirk and says, hey, something's happening. We're in a crisis. Right. Everything's blinking out. It's affecting everything. Is it a natural phenomena, or is it something that seems to be happening where you guys are at? And I really wish Kirk would have said, the lieutenant, whatever her name is, the engineer at the time, she's been playing with some of the equipment and the engineering. We'll have her stop. That would have been hilarious, wouldn't it have?
No, not funny at all. This is a very serious.
Okay, so I don't know why I just thought of that. But anyway, he's telling him, this is happening. Can you go check it out? It's happened. Seems to be happening where you're at. Interestingly enough, it's happening exactly where they're at on the planet, exactly where they're at. So it's an interesting thing that they just happen to be right where it's at that time. So let's go back to the planet surface, because you're there and you have a few more frames of things that you thought were interesting here.
Yeah. At 0614, it looks like there's a bunch of water that they're running over. The ground looked wet on the left side. I don't know what's going on there.
Yeah.
And then we have these guys. They crouch around. What got me out of the moment was these guys run over to Lazarus, who fell down. He's falling down all the time. Okay.
Yeah.
He hangs around rocks and he falls down a lot. And these guys run over, and I made a screenshot there with awkward pose, but they start yapping. Yeah. They're looking at each other as They're like, what? They look down there, and then they look at each other, and it's like the Shore Lead episode when they can't quite believe that horseman is made out of plant material, cellular casting or whatever.
Yeah.
And this guy has got broken bones, or the wind's knocked out of him, or he's got a concussion, and they're looking at each other.
Well, what did he sell? That looked like an easy 40-foot drop that he did there, right? 30-foot, 40-foot drop.
Onto a mattress. He says he liked, the actor liked this on location thing because he didn't have time to prepare for this shoot, and he found that out on location they were setting up lights longer, and all the setup time gave him time to try to memorize stuff and how to learn to fall on a mattress. This guy got hired like at midnight before shooting because
are you serious?
The guy who was supposed to do this was Barrymore. I think it's father, like Drew Barrymore. Okay. We'll do some makeup and stuff.
We'll try and make it work for you.
Yeah. So he did an amazing. Okay. He was a stage guy, and he did an amazing guy. And Shatner, I think, vouched for him, and the guy did great for that. I didn't know that.
I didn't know that either. I mean, for having that, he did a great job. I think, as Lazarus, the rational one, he did a great job of acting. As the one that was overturned, I guess he did a good job too, but I thought he overdid it a little bit,
I think they had, I read director had weird stuff, and a lot of stuff went wrong with this episode. Ton of stuff. Here's one example. Why the show morphed its way from Masters being someone who was looking up to this stranger but they already had an episode that was coming up called Space Seed, and that lady was already going to look up to Ricardo, right?
Right.
And so they said, we can't have two episodes. So the story morphed, and now she's in engineering, and then we go down the hallway, and the camera goes onto a little plaque that says engineering, and then we get into a room that doesn't look like engineering. That plaque was not supposed to say that. Error after error after error.
Well, it was odd. I mean, I don't know who blocked this. I mean, the director, I know I could look up the director because the director usually does the blocking, right? It was terrible. It was horrible blocking. I mean, he's walking right up to her. I can clearly see through those holes in the mesh that this guy's walking up to her, and he sneaks up on her. And I'm like, she must be absolutely blind and deaf and everything else, because this woman, had no place in engineering if she could not see this guy coming up, because God knows what she missed every day. You're talking about the guy falling down, right? He falls off these. Now, what you said, well, he's falling to a mat, right? But in the episode, he's not falling to a mat. It's obvious on a couple of the shots that you could see he's falling into a mat, because his fall is just, you could tell he's kind of spinning and falling, and it's right there. So, but this guy fell God knows how many times during this episode. He's getting, winked out and winked in, and explosions, and oh my God, and hit in the head and everything. And then later on, and I'm going to jump a little bit, way forward, but later on, William Shatner and Captain Kirk says, well, but if we destroy your ship, if his ship, your ship gets destroyed. He goes, yeah, I know. But this guy's falling off. He's got broken bones. He's got, oh my God. I mean, this guy would have been dead 100 times over. And I'm just like, okay. I mean, you have to suspend belief. A suspension of belief on this one. I'm like, holy crap. I really got to pull myself away from this, because it was just too much of, if let's say you're in an alternate universe, the way that they're explaining it, right? Like matter on antimatter, you would either have a completely different character that would be anti to what your character is, or a completely sane character, right? So if you have exactly the same character, if when they destroy his ship, the other ship gets destroyed, then why didn't, when the guy got a cut on his head, the other guy got a cut on his head? When things happen on one universe, why didn't it happen exactly the same? And it didn't. So instead of a parallel universe, they have a divergent universe, actually. So it would have been better written as a divergent universe rather than a parallel universe.
I say they use the term parallel universe, and And what they mean is what you call a divergent universe. It's the same number of objects, same people. They lead approximate, but they're different paths that they travel.
Captain Kirk saying, well, they're going to be fighting forever. Well, it's impossible. They're still going to have an arc. How can they say
they're in the corridor fighting? Oh, you're saying in general between the two? Yes. After a while, they will perhaps diverge in your view of divergent universes, but there will be two other ones that are close together, and they're going to be fighting.
So you're thinking other people are going to pick up the fight, not the same two guys?
For me, there's two universes that are close together. These two guys are fighting permanently inside of the valve. They are in the valve between the two universes. They are stuck in there. They can't ever leave. The two universes are great. There's no crazy person in one and a smart person in the other that are going to try to blow up the universes. They're stuck inside of the doorway, the valve, the tunnel between them.
Right, and they're two old guys that are just kaputsky. Their knees gave out on them. They can't see, they can't hear, they're trying to fight, and they're just kind of laying there.
No, there's time. Time doesn't pass inside of that that valve.
I just can't buy that. I can't buy that.
Why can't you?
But my point being is this is one of those episodes where the things that I read about Star Trek actually came to fruition for me, like them not making Kirk be so dumb, because the lady's asking Kirk, well, how long do we have or something? He goes, we'll fall in within 10 hours if we don't have our dilithium crystals or whatever. How does he know that? I mean, he's not an engineer. He's a captain of the Enterprise. Usually, in future episodes, he's going to ask Scotty, how long do we only have 5 hours, Captain. We're going to fall into it. And right now, Kirk goes, we got 10 hours. We're going to fall in. Now, it could be making an educated guess because of the experience. That's fine. But they're giving Kirk lines, or Kirk's taking lines in this episode that should be, in my opinion, given to somebody else. Right?
Yes, the guy who wrote this, they knew that the guy wrote lines that didn't match any of our crew. This is something they had to cobble together and patch together as they were trying to rescue this thing that they bought.
I love it.
Same thing with Harlan Ellison. Harlan Ellison wrote this great, story, City on the Edge of Forever, but but he didn't write what's it called? The speech habits or the style.
The Bible, right? Yeah. The character Bible.
The characters have already been developed so they have to rewrite you, and then the writer gets pissed. Well, in this case, this guy was off base, and they tried to patch it. Did they make it? No,
not really.
And I know you're kind of you said, oh, I'm argumentative. No, you're like when you watch a time travel episode.
Well, that's exactly what this was to me.
When you do the time travel thing, you and I we go at it back and forth. And this is the same thing. This dual parallel.
I think as you're saying, like a patchwork and putting things together. Honestly, I think we could talk for 10 years on this episode and it won't work for me. Even with and you're brilliant, but I just can't make it work. So you got him falling off. He's got blood coming out of his mouth, and I don't know if it's running out of his ears, but this poor guy fell 40 feet off of a cliff. He didn't die, unfortunately, and it will end our episode for us. So he fell off. I really liked the engineer that they had here, Lieutenant Masters. I liked her a lot, and I was thinking, it was unfortunate. I think that was her only episode, right? I don't think I saw her in any other episode. So
yeah, right. And she that was the part that was supposed to be the love interest thing happening, where that paralleled the Space Seed episode thing, but that got all ripped out. And so she was a chemist, and if you'll notice, she's wearing blue.
Yeah.
She's in medicine, yet she was in engineering in the real episode. So she had the wrong clothes on, another error, wrong color. Yeah. But that part morphed.
It was hard to swallow this pill. I tried really hard to swallow it, but I couldn't. It was.
Well, it was good that she was in there and she got that part. I read that.
Did you like that cat thing though? You didn't comment on it.
No, I not enough deep hacking kind of practice. Okay.
I guess I was wrong. Does he talk to Captain Kirk twice? From Starfleet Command? Is it called Starfleet Command in this episode, by the way?
Standard general alert signal from Starfleet Command, Captain.
Oh, okay, good.
All stations to immediate alert status. Stand by. Captain, scanners are now report a life object on the planet below. You just did a complete life survey 5 minutes ago. How is he picking up? And then eventually they get to talk to the guy.
To the guy that says, and then I did like Captain Kirk's line there, though. I thought it was a great line. So we're the something.
Any word from Starfleet Command, pipe it down immediately. Communications, priority 1. And then that's the end of the teaser, right?
What does he say, though? He says, we're the bait or something like that.
Oh, yes. Yes, that we're on the, that's right.
Yeah. It's like, I did like that. We're going to hang you out there. You're like a little piece of meat on a hook, and we'll see what gets it.
It's going to be tough on you and the Enterprise, but you're on your own. Kirk says, I see. You mean we're the bait. Yeah,
there you go.
And the Commodore says, good luck.
Yeah, I just kind of,
Kirk
because
is
he's
like,
acknowledging
thank you, sir.
Yeah. It's really good. I did like that. Now, here's another one that I'm going to refer to back at the beginning. Spock said at the beginning, right? Something about nothing, something. What did Spock say? Oh, no surprises, which is a foreshadowing. You got a big shadow and Godzilla standing next to you. He's going to eat you. Yeah, there's no surprises here,
Oh, okay. You mean, he says, very typical, Captain. Iron silicon base, oxygen, hydrogen atmosphere, largely arid, no discernible life. No surprises.
Yeah, exactly. Which, then, like I said already, people have said, hey, there's all this life. Why doesn't someone comment it when they get to the surface and go, what? There's no life here. Anyway, but then McCoy does it. And, this time it's a little bit of a stretch, right? It's like my rubber band was just too stretched out when he goes,
What's he say?
He's not going anywhere. Not this time, and you're going, please. I mean, if every episode of Star Trek doesn't teach us something, it's that everything's going to go somewhere, whether we like it or not, right? I don't know why these guys were so smug in their lines in this episode. I'm like, why are they so smug? It's he's going to go somewhere. Something's going to happen. Kirk was so, Kirk had no regard for his crew. I mean, he's like, I don't have time for games, McCoy. McCoy's bringing up a serious issue. Like, this guy's not the same guy, man. I've treated him, like, bandage his head. He's got broken bones. And then he comes in and he's in really good shape. His things are gone. I don't got time for, why doesn't he trust his own medical officer? Why be flying? I would fire McCoy if I didn't trust him as much as Captain Kirk doesn't seem to trust him here. He would have been on Wrigley's Pleasure Planet. I would have left him there a long time ago.
Kirk says, Bones, if I had the time, I'd laugh.
Right.
Why? Yeah. This guy is wasting his time on a serious matter?
Yeah. I don't get it. And then another big thing, and I think I'm jumping way ahead, when engineering catches fire, it's kind of funny. It's kind of a small, kind of contained fire. Not really contained, it's out of control, but it's like, the full room. When they walk out the door, oh my God, the whole smoke is coming out at them on the, I'm like, what the heck happened here? And then they're down the hallway, which those doors normally close after they leave, right? Well, first of all, Lazarus goes in there with just a simple cloth on it, which it's an electrical fire. You got all kinds of electrical components, which will choke you to death in a minute, right? And he has a little handkerchief over his thing, and he's going in there. This guy's impervious. Well, of course, we saw him fall off rocks like 4 times and he didn't die. So this guy's unbelievable, just whatever being he is amazing. But anyway, so he goes in there, and then they're down the hall, and all this smoke's coming down the hall. And I'm like, what happened to the automatic closing doors? And fire control. You would think that fire controls in a ship like the Enterprise would be unbelievable. They have no fire suppression, no fire control.
Fire on a ship is a scary thing for a captain, right there. You said doors open. If I was documenting that, it'd be like, doors closed.
Doors exactly, right.
And I wouldn't get a doors closed again. There would be no
Fuck.
hair.
So here's a Kevin intermission. And then the thing where, all of a sudden Spock, he got his thing out and he's like, matter, antimatter, when they made annihilation of the universe, Captain. This is one of the things that overall, in general, I have as a problem with some of the Star Trek episodes is they don't know anything and then all of a sudden they know everything. And I'm like, how could that be? I mean, how could you not know anything? I know we only have 50 some odd minutes to get this to happen, but as you said, on some of the episodes are really good because it's layer upon layer upon layer. They learn, and then they get it. In this one, they go from knowing there's no life on the planet to, matter, antimatter, they meet, we're gone. So I just like, and as you're saying, if there's multiple universes that are parallel, then we have a lot of that explosive thing happening all the time, right? So
no, because they all don't know how to cross over between those.
Okay, so then my last thing, and then the thing is they held that shot where Kirk pushes him into that ship way too long, where he's fighting the alternate Lazarus. He throws him. Lazarus says, "No, not you." He's got all the time to jump. He's jumping on Kirk all the time anyway. To jump and throw him out of the way and do it himself. I mean, all the time in the world. I mean, like when a car crashes and you say, oh man, it took 10 minutes to have this car crash and it was a matter of seconds. He could have totally jumped up, threw Kirk out of the way and really done what he wanted to do anyway, but that didn't happen. And that's all my notes.
Other people standing around watching them do the fighting. Spock is looking at this thing going on.
Right.
And so this is common knowledge, and the director said, and maybe that Gene Roddenberry pushed a certain direction saying, I need my star to have some action. And here these other guys are just standing around. Yeah, right.
Well, they were standing around. They had the lines that should have been given to someone else, like I said, and you also agreed with, I think. Kirk was saying them.
Oh, yeah. Let's go take a look at, when he falls on the ground the first time.
Yeah.
He's out cold. They're staring at each other. I'm going, help this guy. And then the camera goes back on him and he starts to move a little bit, right?
Yeah.
And the first thing I am thinking of is the Gorn just got that rock in his chest. He's knocked out cold. Kirk thinks he got him. He goes and runs down there. And then you see the Gorn's hand move a little bit. Ah! That reminded me of that. And and another episode when she says in Conscience of the King, is he dead? Is King Duncan dead?
Oh, that's right. And
so
what did you think? What did you think of the this? You said she was a chemist, right? What did you think of her character, and what did you think of her in this episode, as an actress and as a part?
Actress, great. I thought I wrote something somewhere. Oh yeah. At 0641, you were just leading me on here. You're like the good interviewer. She says, drained our crystals completely, and we're kind of introduced to that character. And my impression of the entire conversation, maybe not just that line, was I wrote down solid voice. And what I was trying to imply, what I was hoping for is that this character would be a strong character, right? Not an assistant. She was supposed to be that chemist, but obviously now in engineering. And that could have been a good continuing character. We've got a cool words in this episode. I have been able to ascertain one fact, though the effect, whatever it was, unquestioningly widespread, it was strongest here on the planet beneath us. For whatever reason, I love that. Not the entire line, but that he said.
Which frame are you referring to right here?
That's at 0709. He says in the Immunity Center, and while we're maintaining our distance, Mr. Spock, have you ascertained yet what we're maintaining our distance from? All right, 0806. There is an off-center, off-axis view of a black screen that we could use for the bridge.
True. Where can she? Oh, she can grab it in HD on the thing.
Exactly. And there's a code there that you can get it real fast, but there's other ones, there's better ones. Even in this particular episode, we had a Commodore that had the similar view that in the Trouble with Tribbles.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that Trouble with Tribbles actor was the one that did the State Farm, I think, commercials, or no, Allstate commercials. And Captain, you're in good hands with Tribbles. And this guy, you're in good hands with.
Right.
Allstate.
Yeah.
You're right. And they did that blooper. This guy reminds me of that. So it's great consistency. We've got the Trouble with Tribbles, and we have this guy looking the same kind of Commodore shot.
Yeah. That's good.
Okay, what do we got? Oh, yes. The Commodore asks him at the end of the conversation, after they determine, hey, it appeared everywhere. He says, what's your guess, Captain? He says, your guess, Captain. And Captain Kirk responds, thank you, sir, as if that was an introduction for him to start speaking. I've considered all the alternatives. My best guess is it could be a prelude to invasion. And the Commodore agrees with him.
Yeah.
I hate when the Commodore asks Kirk what his guess is.
Yeah.
I don't know why. It just drives me up the wall. And Kirk comes up with his best guess from the information that Spock has provided, that this is invasion. I just don't buy it. There's some effect going on, and he says it's invasion. Did I miss something?
So no, and it's 100% exactly what this episode is about, right? It's just this weird stuff in there, and I'm like, where did they get this from? But credit to you. I mean, if the author wrote a really good script and then they decided they couldn't do it, so they kind of just cut it to heck. I mean, that makes sense. But right now, you're right. It doesn't make any sense. It's senseless. Yeah.
Take a look at 0923. Right there is a head-on, ready, already matted out, ready to go.
Yeah, but where are the two people watching? I like that when she has that whole thing going on. I like that she did that. So
yes,
we need to pan back and get. I would love to find a similar shot to what she has, but on the Enterprise, on the original series. Yeah,
and that exists.
Yeah.
With Sulu.
Yeah, Sulu
and generic character. Right.
Yeah.
10 minutes into the episode, we get to be in Kirk's quarters, and of course, Bruce loves the bottle show.
Yeah.
Bruce loves he loves the Enterprise. I love the Enterprise. It's a great.
That statue that he has, we've seen that before, and I think we'll see it again. It's a set piece that they use quite a bit.
Oh, is that right? Is this the first time?
Yeah. I think it's the first time I've seen it here, but I've seen it before in other episodes, or else I've seen it in other episodes, I should say. Whether or not it was before, I don't know, but definitely.
I thought it was interesting. The little Buddha there or whatever, and the plant in the pot.
To me, it looks like an Aztec statue.
Yes,
or an Inca or Aztecs, one of the two. Yeah.
Throwing out what comes into my mind. Can't speak quick enough. Yes. 12:53. Every time that thing spins, I'm thinking it's the shows where they spin the newspaper around and around, and then they freeze it and you see the headline.
Yeah, like Superman too, right? Didn't they have like Superman or Batman? One of them. I think it was Batman, right?
Classic, but
yeah.
Nowadays, I always think it's Power Mac. It's Power Mac G4 with the big old handles on the side. There's a picture of it. It's just going round and round. That's what it looks like to me.
Yeah.
At the end of this, I didn't write down act 1 or act 2 or whatever. Brown is doing his Lazarus thing. Kill.
Yeah.
I loved it. It was just really getting into that line. What was that line? That was
kill. He said, you mean the one that's on 143126? Is that where he said? There's one of them where he actually says kill for like 4 times. Yes, I wrote that in my notes. Yeah.
That's it. At 1429, kill, 3, 4, 5, end of Act 1. This is end of Act 1.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go put that right in there.
I don't know why Brown was worried about learning his lines. I mean, that's a pretty easy line to learn. I'll even remember that tomorrow. 5
lines with the same information.
Yeah. Kill. Yeah.
So Do I care about doors on the Enterprise at all? Do I have a thing? Nothing.
You kind of have a fixation on the doors for sure. There's no doubt. No
Okay.
doubt.
Well, there's people behind those doors, and there are people behind the motion of the doors. So so 1457, it's closed, as it should be on the Enterprise. It opens. Okay, so far so good. And I'm gonna whip past a few other comments. We get to 1500, doors closed. Wait for it. They bounce back open again. They slammed them shut and went boom, boom.
Did they?
Yeah.
Oh,
right
I
there.
I didn't notice that. Yeah.
15 and 11 frames, they bounce back open and then they go close for real at 15 minutes and 1 second. While Uhura is inserting a floppy disk into the floppy drive on the captain's console.
She's getting ready for him.
Right, she's supplying him with the latest communique from whatever, and in it goes. And I thought that was kind of unusual. I'm backing back up because I'm going back over the opening door thing because I'm going through this frame by frame because I don't have a thing for doors or anything like that. And I'm noticing the emergency signal on the upper right corner of the flashing as Kirk is coming off of the turbo lift. And to me, it's looking like this fuel cell indicator. It's at 40%, then it's at 60%. And finally it reaches 100, and then it changes to purple. Well, because of this old.
Well, you know, we're not. It's like, how close to red alert are you, right?
Yeah, and you only see that during frame by frame. It's not like he's going by and the light is reacting differently and it looks like the light's going up from the bottom. And no, it just hasn't. If you played that normal, it just brightens up.
It's just a bright light.
Yeah, exactly. And then
you got McCoy.
And what he says right there is, "I'm just a country doctor." Right?
Yeah. Hey,
right.
Where is he? It's a big ship, Captain. Well, I'm just a country doctor. Yeah.
Right. He's in sick bay and they're having a little, and he says that, and I thought, classic McCoy.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right. And then you see at 1642, we're in the rec room. We're in the briefing room that's been redressed as this little lounge area. And he's hanging around, and there's lots of people moving. And the friend of what's her name, Masters, is coming from the food synthesizer.
Yeah.
She turns around, she spins around, and she looks right at him for just a frame or two. And then she goes back to her business, which is to go meet with Masters so they can go talk about how crazy everything is. And then in the next, they're talking, and he's looking at her, and she looks for a moment, but it's not her that the original story was about. It was about Masters and Lazarus. And you can see that what's left in this is of that scene, or those scenes that I read about that they were describing, is she's picking up the coffee and she kind of glances over at him.
Yeah.
But not that I'm not saying that she is reenacting those scenes that they cut out. I'm saying that's kind of part of the character, and it didn't disappear. It reminded me of what I learned about behind the scenes, because they obviously put him here in this area, this lounge area where he shouldn't be at all. He's filthy. He should not.
Well, you know, and I thought that it was kind of cute. You got that guy, you got 17, 13, 12. The guy that was behind, he kind of found the whole thing humorous. He was kind of giggling in the scene. And yes. I thought that was kind of funny. Yeah.
Right prior to that, I didn't grab it, but Lazarus gets up and they make eye contact, Mr. Giggly guy there and Lazarus, and they nod at each other and they like, yeah. And he acknowledges him as he goes by, and then looks back at Masters' friend and heads out the door. Then we have a beautiful shot of the ship. 1749, an empty corridor. It's just, I wish my house was like that. Yeah. So I have a question here. I don't know if I'm seeing this right, but these guys walk out of the turbo lift. They stop on cue. They got some marks down there, I'm sure.
Yeah.
And they're looking down the hallway, and what they see is what's at 1755. This guy, Lazarus, going through the motions, is problem with that he has. and he's hanging on for dear life on that engineering diamond patterned steel wall. And then the shot changes, and I'm wondering, from where they were standing, could they really see him around that curve?
Huh.
Do you see?
That's true, right? I don't know. You're right.
The other way.
Yeah.
Now,
maybe they saw the lights flashing as they're, because it seemed like the lights were always flashing when he was going through his transition period.
Yeah, true. But the camera is implying we are seeing his back.
Yeah.
And then,
that's true.
From the other shot, I'm going, wait a minute. There's he's in this little cubby here. I can barely see the turbo lift. Or were they able to really see him? I'm obviously nitpicking. I just was looking at that and I go, it didn't match up. It probably matches up just fine for everybody, and I'm noticing something that isn't really there. I like this where McCoy comes up. You remember the banter we talked about, and Kirk doesn't believe him. He reaches up to Lazarus and rips the bandage off.
You're right.
What I like is that Brown reaches up and slaps his hand. Like, the guy is reaching for the bandage. He's ripping it off. He's already wincing. I see his shoulders kind of go up. That might be just because he's reaching up with his hand, but he's wincing, and he goes whack on McCoy's hand.
Yeah.
I liked that little thing. Like, what the hell? And he's whacking him. I just wish that they had, what do you call that one? The Foley, when they add sound and stuff. I wish they would have added more of a sharper whack.
Yeah.
Sound.
Yeah.
And I'm sure what they added was realistic for the fact that what can you really do when you're reaching up this far and trying to go. But I liked it so much that I wanted it louder and snappy. Smack. What the heck?
What the heck?
So
now the actor Robert Brown, I mean, these photos that you have here, he has a very interesting face. His nose is interesting. I just wonder where he's from, where his history's from, because it's a very interesting look to me. It's not like a normal look you would see on any,
Yeah. So then I make a couple of comments here. Look, he takes that, sticks it onto his forehead. He gets it back, the bandage, puts it onto his forehead.
Yeah.
And then a few frames later, at 1828, or 1833-03, it lifts back up again. If you have a Band-Aid and you ripped it off, it's still sticky enough, and you can put it back and it'll stay down. This thing is not sticky enough to be Band-Aid material. Starts lifting back up.
It's one of those non-stick pads, though. You know how they have those pads that they won't rip off your scab.
Oh, yes, totally improved, exactly. But where's the little Feinberger that McCoy holds, and he can repair burnt skin?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. With the scan, yeah.
I thought it was interesting that when they came up onto the bridge, security came up to the bridge with Lazarus, so he was under surveillance, under
yeah.
Okay. When Spock says the line, Spock says, "I confess I am somewhat at a loss for words." Really, Spock? It may be described, though, loosely and inaccurately as a rip in our universe. A what? A kind of physical warp, Captain, in which none of our established physical laws apply with any regularity. I totally get how Spock, I thought he delivered that. I like the loosely and inaccurately.
Yeah.
He likes to be accurate. He either doesn't understand the phenomena, and I would expect he's learning about it, and he is prefacing his explanation. He's putting legalese around his explanation. Loosely or inaccurately, can't quite say that this is the way the physics work, but it's kind of like this. I don't think he's dumbing it down for the captain. I think we're all kind of learning about this at the same time. Oh yes, the devious Lazarus. Let's talk.
Well, they were both devious, because the other one said, "Well, I'm sorry, I had to steal your." Are they dilithium or lithium? I don't even know what they are in this episode. Are they dilithium crystals?
In this episode, They are dilithium crystals. They were or used to be in Mud's time or older episodes lithium crystals.
Lithium. And then they went to trilithium and quadrilithium and then finally octolithium, didn't they?
Quadrotriticale. First it was triticale.
Yeah.
Okay, what do we got what's Bruce's beef with this with the devious guy here in at 2011? He says, I demand. Oh yeah.
Yeah. I didn't.
Yeah.
Well, Kirk had a problem with him saying that too, remember? Yeah. Kirk had something to say about that. Further, I demand it.
But he said, but he's smiling. So right here in at 2011, he hears about dilithium crystals and he is psyched. He says, that's just it. That's the key. That's the way to trap him. That's the solution. And then instead of manipulating him somewhere the way you would argue and discuss, and convince the other person, hey, can I eventually get to the point of, can I borrow your dilithium crystals? He goes into something that is bound to fail. I beg of you. Whoa. Okay, maybe. Yeah. I plead, and then I demand. My right is to grab those guys. He's lost his argument already in those 3 lines, and in a half a second, he goes from smiling to the next shot there, 2015, and it's like, I demand. He's lost. Kirk is not even going to listen to him. I don't like his argument. I know he's
it's funny because it parallels as parallel universe and parallel everything. Errand of Mercy, where Captain Kirk is having the same argument with the Argonians, right?
The Argonians, what does he say? What's he say?
We have the right to, you can't step in and we have the right to fight. We have the right, and then Kirk Spock's looking at him.
Yeah, that was he was going down the wrong path trying to say fight. And this guy, he messed up he should have been, if he was devious, he should have been leading into it.
Yeah, he should have. But, I don't know how Brown was trying to act this actor out. I couldn't figure it out. I mean, on the really sensible one, I thought he played him really well. With the crazy one, I don't think he got a finger on it. He just didn't get his finger on that character.
Let me finish up the scene here. Kirk is left in the dust by Lazarus, who bolts off of the bridge. The bad one who wants his lithium crystal. I'm going to get him come hell or high water. Kirk looks straight ahead, and then he glances over at the security guy. And I'm thinking, hey, Mr. Security Officer, yeah, I'm looking at you. And he gets the security guy to go over to the door and follow the guy. He should be, tailing him. He should be with him. Why did he get off of the ship anyway? I mean, off of the bridge by himself anyway, where he can now wreak havoc or something. So the security guy leaves, but I noticed he has to pause imperceptibly, just like Yeoman Rand, Janice. What's her? No. Yeoman Janice Rand. What's the actress? Grace Lee Whitney has to in front of the door that opens up where Beauregard is in the episode. Right? Remember, the doors don't open. She has to walk up to it with a tray of food.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And he has this experience right there. He goes up to the door and it doesn't quite open, then it opens. I mean, it's just imperceptible, but yeah, there's a little door.
I'm going to have to watch that again. I just want to see that. Or we could put a clip. Erica could put a little clip of that. That's funny.
He's walking freely around the Enterprise. People are hustling and bustling along. And we get a shot of the sign on the wall that says engineering, and it really was not supposed to say engineering. It was supposed to be something like a dilithium crystal recharging station. And so if everybody's wondering why, when you're going, why is this so bad, or why did engineering change? Well, they just laughed at. So, yeah, there were a lot of weird stuff. And your favorite scene where we can see the bad guy coming up in front of her in order to choke her. Now wait, it's not even just your thing where she doesn't see him coming up with dirty clothes and he's out of place and he shouldn't be in here.
Right.
It's also that he I assume it's kind of a chloroform kind of a thing, knocks her out
Yeah.
while she's still talking to the captain.
Right, and the other guy, right, as soon as he came up to the other guy, he was out like a light in a second. I mean, the other guy that he did the same thing to. Yeah.
Let the conversation end. Why does Han Solo? Oh, this conversation was terrible anyway, and he blasts the. Don't let the other guys know.
Yeah.
She just goes, Captain. And now they're going to go sick some people down there. She would have finished her conversation, and he could have grabbed his gun, knocked her out, got her to the lithium crystals, and been out the door.
Yeah.
Okay, I have to ask you, are you going to rate this episode, or are you just going to say it's
You
not
know what's
rated?
really sad about my rating on this episode?
What?
You know what's really sad? It's terrible. I mean,
Van Gelder terrible?
Huh?
Van Gelder terrible? Dagger of the Mind? Light in the ceiling, Kurt?
Not that bad. What's terrible is I rated it at one point and I gave it a rating. And then I was like doing some more research and more watching and I rated it down. Now talking to you and kind of getting a bit of a headache, I'm going to maybe rate it down a little more. This one, the more I go over it, the worse it got. It's just like is this fish going bad? You're smelling it and kind of going, yeah, I think it's there.
It's okay, isn't it?
I think I'll have your rating first.
Shouldn't we have, isn't there I'm worried right now, episode ratings here. And I have some episodes that are not much lower than the 75, although I have hit one lower than that. I don't think this gets, all my episodes are 80 to 90.
Yeah, yours are very closely clustered. Yeah.
This does not manage to get a 60. I'm giving this a 60 because I need to figure out where.
I thought you just said it didn't rate a 60. Now you're bringing it up to 60.
Right, so 50, so do I say 59? I'm going to give it a 60. And,
okay.
And I'm going to say it's just not an episode that is going to be at the if I had the stack of 10 on the desert island mix, right? I would reach for it right away.
Yeah.
I would reach for the other bad episode I rated, I think, which was Where No Man Has Gone Before or something. I rated it pretty low. It's just not one that I would grab right away.
Yeah, I agree. It's not one I would grab right away either.
So when I realized Trekkie, and I'm gonna watch them all, and I'm come hell or high water. There's no way I'm going to. If I'm watching them in order, I'm not going to skip over it though.
So I started out when I first started my rating. I said, okay, what's my rating going to be? And to be honest with you, I said 65. Yeah, and then I watched some more of it, and I go 56. And then you and I are talking about it, and I got a bit of a headache. And I'm thinking 48. But to be honest with you, I'm going to keep it at 56. I'll just keep it at 56. But I'm thinking it's lower than 56, but I'll keep it right at 56.
Okay, that's interesting. And
yeah,
I can totally understand you going with the story and giving it a low rating. I'm surprised that I give it that low.
I just think it was badly directed and badly written. And the acting of when he was in his alternate thing, I don't think he knew how to go with that character, how to be crazy with the character. I mean, even you said it just now when we were talking, and you're like, it goes from happy and he decelerates right into there's no way in heck you're going to get the crystals, right, with Captain Kirk. I demand it. He starts out.
But I don't say Brown has the problem there. I say the script has a problem, or the director. I think Brown.
Oh yeah, no, I get it. But I could imagine, I acted my one time, and I'm so gifted in acting because I did it once. But what do we have coming up then? What's coming up?
I can tell you that we have for season 1, 28 is The City on the Edge of Forever. Oh, okay. I'll give you a preview. It is 28th episode, and we get Joseph Pevney back, Harlan Ellison to write it, and this was April 6th in 1967.
Yeah.
Rates really, really high in all of the top 10s and top episodes, and the actors even, right? Shatner, Gene Roddenberry on his a year before he died, I think, said this one was up there. Yeah.
There's who's the woman in this one? She's what's her name?
Joan Collins.
Joan Collins, yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Everybody seems to rate that one really high, so I'm really interested. I'm looking forward to watching it as more of a discriminating person. I really kind of want to see, I remember little parts of it, like he stole tools or something.
You need to watch it and then read about the lore of Harlan Ellison not getting the damn procrastinator extraordinaire, not getting that thing written, and then complaining for 40 years, complaining that
is that the one he walked out of the awards with and he yelled at him or something?
Yep. I gotcha. And because
this is my script and you ruined it.
He submitted his script, got an award. The other guys, they just shrugged their shoulders, and they submitted their episode's version, and they also won the year later, 68 or something.
Oh wow, okay, cool.
Yeah, so
that's cool.
Yeah, so and Harlan Ellison put out a book on this, the original story, or whatever. How it was ruined or whatever.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to digging into this one. I'd like to. I wanted to dig into the alternative factor, but because I really wanted to know so I'm glad you filled me in on what was happening behind the scenes, because I thought there was something going on with it.
Oh yeah.
But I know that has a history because so many people love that episode. It's just, I think, it's rated one of the top 10, I think, in the.
Oh yeah, it is. It has hit lots. It is. It could be if not the best. Watch it. It's a good story. It changes television. I mean, this is big stuff.
There you go. All right, guys. It's been great. Bruce, thank you so much for this episode.
Thanks for reviewing it with me. I had a ton of fun. I'm glad you watched it. I understand this is almost a difficult episode, like a time travel one kind of thing. But I'm glad you powered through it so that we could get on to, good stuff. More.
And I gave him my ratings, but we'll get to that later. We don't, but I do. And like I said, right now, you were gone. Watch.
Okay. Right when you did, I think we left this